What's going on, guys? Pineapple Sway, and today we'll be talking about Batman Arkham Knight. How Batman Arkham Knight now has been out for 10 years. Absolutely incredible that this game has been out for 10 years. If you like what you see, please consider liking and subscribing. And I'm going to be talking about how Batman Arkham Knight still is the best superhero game of all time, and how I think, there's a good possibility that it'll honestly never be topped. Now, with that being said, what makes Batman Arkham Knight the best superhero game of all time? Well, it's pretty obvious. If we look at when it came out in 2015, 10 years ago from today, it was just ahead of its time. Like, it's not even close. Like, this game is still one of the best looking games to this day. And, honestly, for gaming, you would think that, games would look better now in 2025, but that just kind of isn't the case. We've taken a step backwards, especially in the superhero genre. Other games, look incredible, but, in the superhero genre specifically, which is what I'm talking about, because I'm not saying Arkham Knight is the best game of all time. I'm saying it is the best superhero game of all time. So, but, a lot of superhero games graphically have just taken a step back and just don't look as good or as incredible as this game. Like, when you load up this game, it's just astonishing. And you gotta remember too, this game came out on the old gen of consoles, the PS4 and the Xbox One. So, hardware just, was kind of still being pushed to its limits, if you would say, since these consoles released in 2013, late 2013. And, plus two, there really wasn't much going for us like back then, especially with hardware. And, now, compared to what we have now with the Xbox Series and the PS5, honestly, we all thought that we were going to take a generational leap in terms of games and whatnot, especially for superheroes, but we kind of took a step back. For example, like Marvel Spider-Man 2, I know a lot of people like that game, but, it's not as great as the first one. And then, Suicide Squad and then Gotham Knights, a lot of those games took a step back and had a lot of people questioning, like the games we had before were a lot better. But, we're not here to talk about or bash, games today. We're just here to specifically talk about Batman Arkham Knight and how this game, I think, will just always be a staple of, the superhero genre. And if you want to make a superhero game, you model it after Batman Arkham Knight and make it as close as possible to Batman Arkham Knight. Just because, this game just did so many things well. And, I know in all honesty, a lot of people like to give this game some crap because of the story. And yeah, the story is a bit all over the place, but when you look at what this game was doing, like in terms of like technical capabilities, how it looked, how it felt, how it played, it's outmatched. It's not even close. It's not even comparable in my opinion. Just the overall feel of how this game plays and how it moves is just, it, like what I've said, it may not ever be done again, And it's crazy to think about that, we, in terms of superhero games, it's like we peaked in 2015 and, we haven't been able to top it ever since. Although I'm hopeful that, there might be a game company that will be able to top Batman Arkham Knight. I really don't know. And plus two, the thought of how everyone just seems to come back to Batman Arkham Knight. Like, everyone is always playing Batman Arkham Knight. And, you ask a lot of people, like, hey, what is your favorite game in the series? And, it's Batman Arkham Knight. It's just that good. And what's crazy too is Arkham City is pretty close to being perfect as well. But Arkham Knight, for a lot of people, even myself now, it just takes the edge because it's just something about it. Even with the story being a little lackluster, I would say. I think Arkham City has a better story, but it's just, man, like the marketing scheme for this game was be the Batman. And I think this game gets it as close as we can to being the Batman. And, jokes aside, from, as you can see on the screen right now, the tank battles and the Batmobile, that's still a part of Batman's character. Sure, that Rocksteady take it a bit overboard with the tank battles, the tank racetracks, and just the tank segments in the game in general. Yeah, they definitely did, but it was a new thing that they introduced into the game, so obviously they're going to ramp it up and make it a big part of the game. But, still, taking that aside, it's still incredible. Even from characters, side missions, just exploring Gotham City and just hearing that, terrifying opera music, you know, just that feel of, you know, like something is terribly wrong. It's like everything they did right in this game, it's like they got it down 100%. And yeah, you know, you can point this game out and obviously say some flaws, but at the end of the day, this is something that people are always going to come back to. Like, you know, it's going to be crazy when we're talking about this in 2035, even 2030, you know, 15, 20 years down the line. And we'll probably still be saying that Batman Arkham Knight is the best superhero game of all time, because I truly believe that this game will never be topped, you know. And I don't think it's a coincidence that when people try to replicate, you know, superhero games, when they try to make their own superhero games, you know, the Batman Arkham trilogy, especially Arkham Knight, is the blueprint. You know, they're always modeling and mimicking off Batman Arkham Knight. Like, how can we replicate it without, you know, copying it? And I think that's just to show how good this game was. And, you know, hopefully, you know, Rocksteady with their next Batman game can make it close, you know, to Batman Arkham Knight. Although I don't know if they can. Maybe they will. Maybe they'll shock us all when they make their new Batman game. But yeah, I mean, Batman Arkham Knight, I think, is the best superhero game of all time. It's incredible that it's been 10 years. Sorry for coughing. It's incredible that it's been 10 years. And, you know, we're still talking about this game today. We're still praising this game today for what it accomplished, what it did, and how it's still just a staple in the superhero gaming genre, and how it will just forever be a staple, and how it will just forever be an inspiration, I would say, for even game creators and game developers. Like, if I want to make a superhero game, I got to make it like Arkham Knight. And yeah, that's really about it. You know, just it's incredible to see how far this game has came, and really just the just in general, how just I love to see how people still talk about this game and praise it for what it was. Since I know too, you know, when this game first launched, it was a little rocky, I would say, but it's great that people have finally like said that, yeah, this game is incredible. You know, it's peak, if you will. And yeah, I look forward to talking about this game for many more years to come. Anyways, though, this is Pineapple Sway. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Do you guys think Batman Arkham Knight is the best superhero game of all time? I think it is, and I don't even think it's close. Anyways, though, this is Pineapple Sway. Peace out.